Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. This is the very first video of our Angular 21 series where I will teach you Angular 21 by creating 21 videos for building a production ready web app in Angular 21, and we also use some AI features and AI tooling associated to Angular. So welcome to the channel. Since we know Angular 21 is finally here, and this is one of the most important releases in Angular history. We now have zoneless Angular by default, signals as first class state management, signal forms, built-in Vitest, accessibility with Angular Aria, and even AI tooling integrated into our Angular ecosystem. In this complete series, we are not just learning features, we are building a real production grade AI ready application called TaskSphere. This is Angular 21 the way it meant to be used. Okay, so let's get started. In this very first video, we will do three things. First, I'll explain you what is new in Angular 21 and why it matters. Second, we'll create a brand new Angular 21 application using modern defaults such as standalone and routing. And finally, I'll walk you through the project structure so you understand how Angular apps are organized today. So let's start with the very first section of this particular video, which is what is new in Angular 21 and why it matters. So Angular 21 represents a major shift in how Angular applications are built. Let's do quickly look at the most important changes. First, number one is signals. Signals are now Angular is now signals first. Signals replace a lot of complex RxJS based state management and make reactivity simple, explicit, and predictable. The second most important feature is zoneless by default. New Angular applications are zoneless by default. This means Angular no longer relies on zone.js to detect changes. Earlier, it used to be, which was a complex task and also impact the performances. That's why you used to use the on push change detection. Instead, Angular updates the UI only when signals change, which gives us better performance and more control. The third, the more important, is the standalone architecture. Angular is now fully standalone. It means Angular can be standalone by default. We don't need any NgModules anymore. Components, routes, providers are all defined in a much more cleaner way, with having its own dependency. The next is signal form. This is very new, introduced in Angular 21. Our experimental forms API builds on Signal to create forms, which become strongly typed, reactive, and easier to reason about, especially for complex UIs. Accessibility with Angular Aria. Angular Aria provides headless, accessible UI primitives. This helps us build keyboard friendly, screen reader friendly apps without sacrificing design freedom. Built-in testing in AI tooling. Vitest is now the default test runner, and Angular introduces MCP, Model Context Protocol, which is a very trending and hot thing in the market in AI ecosystem, and which allows AI tools to understand your Angular project architecture through Claude, GitHub, and many other MCPs. And we'll also use all these features as we build TaskSphere. TaskSphere is the name of the project we are going to build as a part of this series. And what is TaskSphere is it's like a AI powered task and project management application. You will be able to create project, manage tasks, use AI to generate task descriptions and subtasks, filter intelligently, and build everything using modern Angular 21 best practices. This is not just a demo; it's a real architecture you can use in production. So I think let's started with the code. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a new Angular application which based on Angular 21. As you can see, I've already created in my local system to just to save time, but to show you how to create Angular application, I'll give you a glimpse. Let me just go to the root folder, and here what you have to do is in order to create any particular Angular application for a specific version, what we have to do is firstly we need to make sure that we have compatible ng and node version. So let's see what is a node version. This is 22, seems compatible, but we also need to check the ng version. ng version is 21 since I've already configured it. But before creating it in your local system, you need to do this Angular this check of Angular and ng version. And if it is not, what you have to do is you need to write npm install at the rate. Angular CLI. This command will install, and you can also write -g so that it will install globally in your system. But at least it will install Angular 21 in this particular folder. As you can see, I've installed it locally, so I got the node modules here. But usually what we have to do is, since we are going with higher version, we can install it globally. Now, in order to create any new application in Angular through ng commands, we have to do is we need to write ng new and the app name, which is TaskSphere in our case. You can name it anything like TaskSphere underscore your name, just to make it more fascinating. And as I mentioned that we are going to make Angular 21 as default, so we have already mentioned it standalone and routing, so that it will do the configuration accordingly. Now I need to do it enter, but it will give me a warning that I've already created this application. This dictionary is already done. But once you're done with this process, you will see this particular structure in your application. Let me remove the unwanted files, which I don't need it now. Okay, okay, and we also need to go to task sphere folder. Why are you saying like that? I think I did some mistake. Okay, yeah, right. Now we are in task sphere. So what you have to see is, before going to the project structure and everything, we have to make sure that whatever we have configured as a part of ng command and created a new project, whether it is running or not. In order to do it, we need to do ng serve. There are many other ways which I'll show you in the next subsequent videos, but this is a more basic way to start an Angular application. Here, what we are telling Angular schematics, which we are using at ng, to serve the application in a local server. So what it does is it has compiled the application locally and running it on localhost under this particular port, which is the most default port if we have worked on Angular previously. So let's go to this URL and we'll see it has opened the TaskSphere application. So I've just used it previously, so it was already open at my end. As you can see, we have got the default Angular application created by the Angular schematics. It has all the links associated in order to understand more about Angulars and Angular tools. Now let's deep dive into the project structure. So let's understand the product structure of this modern Angular application. So I'll start with the very basic thing. First is the package JSON. Here you can see it start with the script, which is default, and it says start command with ngserve. So if I do, instead of ngserve, what I have to do is what I can do, I just write npm start, and it will do also do the same thing. And for building the application locally, we have to use build command. For testing, we have watch, and which has all the uh, for test we have ng-test and these commands associated to it. In the dependencies and Angular dependencies, as we can see, we have configured for Angular 21. So we get all the modules related to Angular 21 as mentioned here. Okay. The next important thing is the main TS file. Whenever we do ngserve in local or in production environment, what it does is, in order to instantiate or bootstrap our application, this particular file runs. And then it has two things. First is the app component, which is the bootstrap component, and it is also a standalone component since Angular 21 is standalone by default. And it has another thing is app config. App config is nothing but it has all the basic configuration in order to bootstrap the application. Whether it's HTTP client, route configuration, other listener dependencies, all these things need to be registered in app config, which is a part of main TS bootstrap function. So this is all on. We also can deep dive into the component structure. As you can see here, we have only one component is default, which is the app component, which is the root component of our application, which we are bootstrapping, and it is also in standalone mode. So just just for a demo, they are also using the signals. We are going to use signals in our application, and due to standalone, it is having its own dependencies since it need to use router outlet. in the HTML, and that's why it is mentioned as router as a dependency. I can check it anywhere. It should be somewhere between, yeah, here. As you can see, we are using router outlet, and that's why we need to import this router outlet dependencies. So it will ease all the dependencies hierarchy, and it will also increase the performance. So I think that's all for this video. The motive was this video is to give you a glimpse of what Angular 21 series is, what we are going to build, and how to create a new application. In the next video, we are we are going to build an actual UI containing header, slide bar, main board using standalone component modes only for this TaskSphere project. So till then, stay tuned and keep liking and subscribing our channel. See you in the next video. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching this video.